Being a very experienced user of the matrix system, probably having one of the largest single center experiences, not only in the United States but in the world, I was very, very interested and excited about an opportunity to help Boston Scientific develop a new type of framing coil and filling coil.
Well, I think overall the matrix coils, the matrix 2 coils, perform extremely well from start to finish. We've used the coils as a framing coil, a filler coil, and a finishing coil so far in our aneurysms, and they deliver very smoothly in the aneurysm and seem to conform very well to the walls and provide a very solid packing.
Had the opportunity to use matrix 2 coils, the 360, as the major coil and actually as the entire coil in a large ophthalmic segment aneurysm. With the 360 coil, the matrix 2, I found that the coils loaded exactly the same as bare platinum. That is a significant improvement.
Compartmentalization is a phenomenon that can be described as a process of inhomogeneous filling of the volume of the aneurysm with loops of coil. This can frequently lead to inadequate packing of the aneurysm.
The matrix 360 clearly has addressed that issue, and at least in our aneurysms that we've treated, there's been significantly less compartmentalization and better back-to-back framing and side-to-side framing of the aneurysm. So that's been a significant improvement in the coil technology.
The goal of the aneurysm treatment has always been to exclude the aneurysm from the circulation. The bare platinum coils work by filling the aneurysm to a substantial degree, 25 to 30% of the volume of the aneurysm is filled by the platinum. And then the blood flow is slowed. As the blood flow is slowed, clot forms. As the clot forms, the hope is that the clot will organize and fibrous tissue will have formed.
One of the most noticeable differences that we have observed with the 360 matrix coil is its ability to find the peripheral margins of an aneurysm volume, even in situations where the geometry of the aneurysm is quite complex. Furthermore, we've been able to use the 360 matrix coil as a filling coil, which is radically different from our usual standard of practice.
At least so far, we're starting to use the 360 matrix 2 as a framing coil, as well as a filling coil. And again, I think the other interesting thing with our 360 experience is that we're also using it as a finishing coil in some aneurysms.
To help illustrate some of the advantages of the 360 matrix coil, I wanted to share with you a case we did this morning on an elderly woman who had an aneurysm of the petrous portion of the internal carotid artery. Her aneurysm was wide neck, broad-based, with a Murphy's tet, indicating that the aneurysm might be prone to rupture. We deployed 2 neuroform stents across the neck of the aneurysm. We then placed a 360 matrix coil into the aneurysm. This particular coil allowed us to frame the aneurysm very well without any compartmentalization or asymmetric filling of the aneurysm. This also allowed us to produce a more stable basket for subsequent placement of additional coils. After placement of the first 360 matrix coil, we were then able to subsequently place 2 additional ultra-soft 360 matrix coils, which were used as filling coils instead of framing coils. Again, a unique added feature that was not previously available with the original matrix line. The final result was quite good, with near complete occlusion of the aneurysm and preservation of the parent artery.
I think this product is a better product than the initial matrix 1. I think it is easier to flush and easier to prepare, easier to insert into the catheter, and at least in my limited experience with 15 coils, a lot easier to insert into the aneurysms. It seemed to have less friction in the catheter, seemed to have less friction between the coils, and this aneurysm that we treated, which had a large number of coils, we're able to insert that large number. I think it's a significant improvement as to what we had before.
Our preliminary experience with the 360 matrix coil has been overall quite good. It is clearly behaving differently than the original 3D design and is increasing our flexibility for applications as both a framing coil and as a filling coil.
You know, I think the Matrix 2 technology, I think, has allowed us to treat the aneurysm as a main coil from start to finish. Whereas before we would, use possibly a 3D coil and then use some 2D soft coils and ultrasofts. We're still obviously using the ultrasoft technology with the Matrix 2, but at least in our initial experience, we're using them to start to finish, which I think is a unique advantage.